the fiction, Iran is out of control with all this stuff. Iran's top proxies were Hamas and Hezbollah. Both of them are weakened immensely right now.
Yeah.
Is MAGA right-wing commentator Ben Shapiro calling for war with Iran? Kyle Kulinski and Krystal Ball broke this down on their show. We're going to take a look at these clips of Ben Shapiro as well as Kyle Kulinski and Krystal Ball. I'm going to share my thoughts on this as well. Let's check it out together.
All right, so now let's move on. Let's talk a little bit about Ben Shapiro here. So, Shapiro, he's been waning in relevance recently. The numbers on his YouTube channel have gone down.
That's
Jordan Peterson is completely and utterly washed now because he did that Jubilee debate and it went horribly for him. Just terrible for him.
I didn't see anyone defending him.
It was
Everyone
like the
was
opposite of Sam Cedars' appearance.
Yeah.
Where even the right-wingers were showing clips of Sam Cedar owning the right-wingers, but they thought Sam must be the right-winger because he's owning.
The best of this.
And these got to be liberals because they look stupid, right? So polar opposite, he just literally like melted in front of the screen and he refused to be straightforward. What do you mean by you? What do you mean by God? Like he refused to just say the shit that he thinks. And I think we're getting to a new era of bluntness now that all that bullshit is sort of going away.
Yeah.
But anyway, Ben Shapiro's on the downswing and you could see this clip right here is really indicative of why he's become a bit of a joke and completely pathetic because he's part of the conservative intelligentsia, right? And he's going to talk here about the issue of Iran. And he's effectively begging Israel and the U.S. to go to war with Iran. Take a look.
So a kind of shocking story from Axios yesterday emerged that suggested that President Trump had cautioned Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in a phone call last week not to take any action that could jeopardize negotiations between the United States and Iran on a new nuclear deal. Okay, so first of all, I have a question. Israel is not involved in those negotiations. So why should Israel hold off? Real question. Israel is the country most under threat from Iran, not the United States. Okay, so if we were going to take the full-scale J.D. Vance isolationist realist position, shouldn't the United States just sort of wash its hands and walk away and say whatever happens, happens? But I notice that's not what's happening. Instead, these so-called restrainers inside the administration, they're not attempting to restrain the United States, which is already restrained. I promise you, my 100% certitude is that President Trump is not going to authorize a bombing raid on the Iranian nuclear facilities. Whether or not we should, I don't think it's going to happen. Okay, that's just the reality. So why is the restrainer team inside the Trump administration trying to stop Israel from doing that thing? Why? With what bad deal? Iran keeps saying openly they will not stop enrichment. And yet the United States is so desperate for a deal. What? For the sake of a deal? The Iranians know this, which is why they're pushing. And so when Trump warns Netanyahu not to go and do anything about Iran, just trust us. Okay, listen, I will trust that President Trump will cut a good deal if he continues to maintain the Trump 1.0 stance, which is no nuclear enrichment at all, no nuclear facilities at all. That was something that 3 weeks ago the Trump administration was saying. President Trump himself, again, I'm with Trump 1.0 on this, not Steve Witkoff and J.D. Vance 2.0. Donald Trump 1.0 killed Qasem Soleimani, destroyed the Iranian economy, and held them in check. Then Joe Biden came in, reversed a bunch of that stuff, and you got October 7th and a vast regional war. Why wouldn't we just go back to Trump 1.0? That is the foreign policy that actually shaped the Abraham Accords. Why is that not the thing? Instead of calling the prime minister of Israel and telling him he needs to restrain himself on Iran.
Oh, how dare you tell Israel to restrain themselves? That's crazy. Yeah. Obviously, they're very restrained and calm and not doing anything bad at all on a daily fucking basis when they bomb kids.
Well, I love how he plays dumb here. Like, well, with what power would you use to restrain Israel? It's like they cannot exist without us. Literally, they can't exist in their current state without us.
But they did effectively buy the U.S. government, so he has a point there. Like, hey, Netanyahu's actually the boss, bitch. That's kind of what he's saying, right?
Yeah,
it's the quiet part out loud.
That is what he's saying.
It's the quiet part loud.
So apparently, based on U.S. intelligence assessments, Israel cannot destroy Iran's nuclear program on their own. They would need our help. But what they can do is some sort of a strike that would lead to an Iranian retaliation that
and make the U.S.
would
join on their
require
side.
us to join in to protect Israel like we did before. And that's really what the Shapiros of the world and the Netanyahus of the world are toying with. That's what they want, is to do some sort of a strike that leads to Iran feeling the need to retaliate and then dragging us into it to protect them, because that's what we always do.
So he's wrong literally in every imaginable way in this clip. A few things. He brings up that, well, Israel's under threat from Iran. No, they're not. No, they're not. Iran is under threat from Israel. The country right now that's in the midst of doing a genocide and ethnic cleansing right in front of our eyes, on top of also bombing Lebanon, Israel bombing multiple countries right now as we speak.
Yeah.
That country is the rabid one that's out of control, that's doing offensive military action. Nobody in their right mind says, oh, Israel is acting in self-defense these days. Like, what are you, crazy? Of course not. So this is a total fiction. The fiction, oh, Iran is out of control with all this stuff. Iran's top proxies were Hamas and Hezbollah. Both of them are weakened immensely right now.
Yeah.
Israel sees that as an opportunity
That's right.
to, in their language, cut the head off the snake. Let's go get Iran.
This is a great point from Kyle Kulinski that doesn't seem to be brought up in mainstream media very much, is who is Iran at war with? Who is Iran attacking? We've been, we go back to we go back even further than that, but we go back in sort of recent times to at least the Obama administration. So now multiple presidents, even the Bush administration, but now multiple presidents have presented Iran as this huge threat. And what has Iran done over this period of multiple presidents? They haven't started a war. They're not attacking Israel or any other country. So what exactly is the big issue and the big threat with Iran? And with Ben Shapiro, at the top of the clip here, Kyle Kulinski and Krystal Ball talked about how Ben Shapiro's viewership is tanking. And this seems to be probably his real viewpoint, his views on Iran that he's presenting here. But what audience are you going to get with that? People on the left aren't going to be supportive of attacking Iran, getting into a war with Iran. The United States, either directly or funding a war with Iran. People on the left aren't going to be supportive of that. And then you have seemingly an increasing isolationist view with people on the right. Now, they talk about Trump being anti-war and MAGA being anti-war. They seem to be mostly just anti-war when it comes to the war between Russia and Ukraine. But there are people on that side who saw, the wars in the Middle East and have said, we don't want any more of that. So what audience exactly is Ben Shapiro going after? Neoconservatives? Neoliberals?
And you heard the way he talked about, it was great when you crippled their economy last time. So you are cheerleading for civilians to be starved, to not make any money, to live in a dilapidated country in extreme poverty by design. So again, you are the violent one. You are the one making threats. It's such bullshit. Say, Israel is under threat from Iran. Nobody in their right mind believes that. It's literally the reverse. Iran is under threat from Israel. The other point is, he said Trump won't authorize a bombing raid. He literally already did publicly on the campaign trail multiple times. I remember I covered it. It was a huge deal. He said, I think Israel, if they want to, go ahead and attack the sites. Go ahead if you want to. Go ahead, attack the sites. The idea that I don't even believe, I think this is all kayfabe bullshit where they try to pretend like, oh, Trump's really disagreeing with Netanyahu. He's really reeling him in. No, he's not. He doesn't fucking have that in him. He doesn't have that in him. I'm sorry. And then when he says no enrichment, like that's got to be the line. Ben knows that's illegal under international law. That they have a right under international law for nuclear power, for their power grid, for nuclear power, for scientific research. It is not on the menu. It is not on the table to say no enrichment at all, full stop, period. That's not a thing.
It's a poison pill.
It's a poison pill.
Everybody knows it is. So, Bibi's out there calling for the Libya model. And it's very clear what the game that they are trying to play. Now, I am more hopeful than you are that there is some possibility that there is actually a deal that was struck here. So the latest in terms of the enrichment position is you had Witkoff come out, and this was very disheartening, say, like, no enrichment, that's our line. Some of the reporting recently has been that they think there may be a compromise position where there's a consortium of regional states that do civilian nuclear enrichment and that U.S. companies are brought in on the deal. So you have U.S. capitalists who could profit off of it. And that might be a solution that Iran could be open to, that the U.S. would be open to, so that, in the context of Trump, like wanting to make money off of everything and do these deals, that might be a potential compromise. But in terms of where Shapiro and where Netanyahu, like where their interests are, I don't think it's any mystery to anyone what the game is that they're trying to play here. And the other thing that they've done to try to, like, sort of like how Trump, they were calling Trump a chicken for backing off the tariffs or whatever. And when he got called on that to his face, everyone sort of freaked out, like, oh, this is going to like goad him into like levying a bunch of tariffs. They've been also trying to use that kind of psychology with him where they'll say, oh, well, this is just like Obama's deal. You're just getting back into Obama's deal. Why are you just redoing Obama's deal? And so that's the other tactic that they're using to try to keep him from actually closing a new Iranian nuclear deal.
But that's actually a correct point. the only deal you can make that's a real serious deal
It is
the
accurate.
Obama deal.
It is accurate.
But he pulled
Just
out of
don't-
that deal.
Yeah, no, it's whatever the end state of the deal is, if there is one, will almost definitely be very similar to what Obama negotiated.
Right, and Trump was the one who pulled out of that.
He'll have some face-saving piece, like I saw they're open to allowing in American inspectors, which was not allowed under the Obama deal.
Yeah,
So
but
he'll
the
have some
UN
face-saving.
inspectors, it's the same thing.
I know. He'll have some face-saving sort of flourish that he can point to that makes this totally different than the one he got out of before. But yeah, it's going to have the similar contours.
Just play this out, though. Even if there is a deal and, he makes a big deal out of it or whatever, Israel is eventually going to plant some fake shit about how they're not following the deal and they just disrespected you, Mr. President. And can you believe that they did this and they betrayed you and they backstab you? And that mixed with the fact that Donald Trump has taken hundreds of millions of dollars from the Israel lobby, he's going to do it. He's going to do it.
This is another good point from Kyle Kulinski and good points from Krystal Ball there as well, that, this is just why it's terrible to have somebody like Donald Trump as the president, somebody who's dumb and somebody who's corrupt. Dumb in terms of getting rid of Obama's plan, which was a good way to deal with Iran. So, of course, Donald Trump had to tear that up. And then also, he's incredibly corrupt, leading to further issues. One of the things that's always been amazing to me is that you have the country in the United States that has the most nuclear weapons telling other countries that they can't have nuclear weapons and can't even take any of the steps that might lead to nuclear weapons. And I'm not saying at all that I want to see Iran have nuclear weapons. I would like it if no countries had nuclear weapons. But it's just always been amazing to me that it's like, oh yeah, we have these things, but you cannot have those things. That would be because they're the dangerous country. They might do something bad, and they're not the country involved in multiple wars over the last few decades the United States is. But let me know what you think about all this. How do you feel about Ben Shapiro's views on Iran? What do you think about how Krystal Ball and Kyle Kulinski broke all this down? Let me know what you think about this in the comments. Make sure to give me a like and subscribe. I am Chris on Culture, and I will see you in the next video.